Well. Look at who the Leafs just signed. And this is how I'm going to know if you're new here or if you've been watching for a long time, because there are players I like, there are players I don't like, and then there are players that are deeply ingrained in SDP and LFR lore. The Leafs just signed a guy who is embedded in LFR lore, and I can't believe he's a Leaf. The Leafs have signed Teddy Bluger from Riga, Latvia to a 2-year contract. All of this happened because a few years ago, I don't even remember what year it was, the Leafs were playing the Penguins, and that night did not go the Leafs' way, and they got scored on several times by players I didn't like, and they were players I didn't like because they didn't play for my gosh darn team. And one of them was Teddy Bluger, and I was like, where is this guy from? He's from like Minnetonka, Minnesota, or he's from Maryland. That sounds like he could be from Maryland or Maine or one of, that clump where like they hunt quail. You know how they hunt quail? My perception of the Northeast was based entirely off of Wedding Crashers.
Why do I have to be in camouflage so the big bad quill doesn't see me?
Turns out Teddy Bluger is not even the guy's real name. It's actually Teddy Bluger, and he is from Riga, Latvia. Don't you love lore? I love lore. And to Teddy, I would just like to say, give me a sec.
Leipni lūdzam.
Leipni lūdzam. Like what?
Leipni lūdzam.
Leipni lūdzam. It slowed it down for me, but
Leipni lūdzam.
Leipni lūdzam. That's welcome in Latvian. This is me assuming he's never learned a word of English in all his time here, which I know is not true. But it's the little thing. It means something. Teddy Bluger, or Teddy Bluger, or whatever you want to call him, was a second-round pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Again, just like Colton Sissons in that really weird 2012 NHL draft. It took him a long time to eventually hit the NHL because he played 4 full seasons in university at Minnesota. Lucky guess. Minnesota State U, which I think is different from just Minnesota. You guys are strange about your schools. Then he played parts of 4 seasons in the AHL. There was some overlap between his final school season and his first pro season. This guy then goes to the Pittsburgh Penguins, graduates into the NHL after 4 seasons with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, and he puts together a steady Eddie depth role career. His career high is 28 points, and he's done it twice. 2 years ago, when the Canucks were respectable, he had 26 points. Last year, holy Toledo. He only played in 35 games, but he did have 9 goals and 8 assists for 17 points. That's actually, if you go back and look at his career totals, like, that's half a point a game. That's really, really good for him. He also probably got lots of opportunity to play on account of, I'm not sure if I should say this. One sec. Let me check over here. All right, the coast is clear. The Vancouver Canucks sucked. They were so bad. Oh my gosh, they were so bad. They were really, really bad. And here's the thing. I don't want you to show me a single chart about Teddy Bluger because depth players on bad teams always have dog turd stats. 102 times out of 100. They are going to have a bad looking chart. I don't even want to see it. Now, I'm not sure if I even mentioned the cap hit at the beginning of this video. It is 2 years, $2.5 million per. Again, with the 2-year. It makes me nervous that John Chayka seems to be... Am I overthinking this? Either he's preparing for 2 years from now when Austin Matthews and potentially Zach Werenski's cap is up, and their contract is up, and they are potentially no longer on the team. Or, don't overthink it, it's a depth player for 2 years. And Sissons is a depth player for 2 years. And Roslovic is potentially a depth player for 2 years. Even if Roslovic ends up playing on your first line at 5-on-5, what's his average ice time really going to be? He's not going to be playing PP1, I don't think. Unless they really need the right-hand shot, maybe. Probably second unit. He's not going to be killing penalties. He's not going to be out there in defensive situations, not on purpose. Teddy Bluger will be. Even though Bluger only played in 35 games for the Vancouver Canucks last year, he was 4th in shorthanded faceoffs. Boy, this is quite the list. Aatu Ratu, Elias Pettersson, David Kampf, and Teddy Bluger. He was also 4th in total faceoffs despite only playing 35 games. Dude, who was on the Canucks last year? Holy cow. It was Pettersson, Ratu, Kampf, Bluger, and then the likes of Marco Rossi, who only played half a season there. Max Sasson played 66 games. What's Brock Besser doing there? What House of Horrors team were you running? God, that's depressing. So now this gets very interesting. I just made a video about the Colton Sissons signing, and what I was trying to figure out is how do the centers line up? Matthews is clearly a center. Unless something pretty significant changes, I imagine John Tavares is going to be the second line center with the potential that Roslovic and maybe Sissons can take a little bit of the food off his plate. Maybe. Then, Sissons is probably your 4C, and I was talking about, is Bo Gru your 3C? Because last year when he was performing very well for the Leafs, he was the 3C, and then he goes down to the Marlies, and he kills it to the point where they won the Calder Cup with him. And go back and look at the footage. When the Marlies are killing the clock, while the Chicago Wolves have their net empty, it's Bo Gru out there, not just sealing the game, not just sealing the series, but he's sealing the Calder Cup. Does Bo Gru even make this team next year now that you have Teddy Bluger signed? Which is just a wild sentence, by the way. Any of you watching this video, you're a massive nerd. It's okay, I am too. I'm the one saying it. But you're hardcore. There are no casuals watching this video right now. Absolutely not. Does Gru maybe play a little bit of wing? Does Bluger maybe play a little bit of wing? Does Sissons maybe play a little bit of wing? We know Roslovic is probably going to be playing a lot, if not majority, wing. Heading into today, I really wanted the Leafs to add to their forward group because I thought it was weak and lacked depth. And I was right. It was weak and lacked depth. And then John Chaik is like, all right, Robertson's out the door. So now you're down even more players. Since that, it's not even 3 o'clock Eastern, they've added Roslovic, Sissons, and Bluger. You need that, you need that, you need that. And what I see with Sissons and Bluger in particular is you're taking defensive responsibilities away from Matthews, which was a huge weakness of the Toronto Maple Leafs last year. $13.25 million for Matthews. He's your captain. He scored 60 goals twice. I know he's dealt with the injury issues. You have to start him in the offensive zone more than you were last year. He played an insane amount of time in the defensive zone, and that can't happen for this player. This is a guy who can be responsible defensively, can kill penalties for you. He's not Sasha Barkov. Barkov has been talked about like one of the most underrated players in the league, and he's always in the Selke conversation. You know what Barkov can't do is score 60 holy smoking goals. Matthews can. We know that because he's done it twice. This is Chaika helping out his stars, or at least that's the goal. So, all my friends from Latvia, one sec. All my draugi, that's friends in Latvian. All my draugi. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends SDPN is the place to be on this free agency day. We got a live podcast that we're going to stream at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And since you watched this video, I just wanted to say
Paldies tev.
Paldies tev.
Paldies tev.
Paldies tev? Tev. Paldies tev. Let's thank you.